Welcome to Ask EMBN. Of course, I'm not usually in here with Chris, but this week I am. Get your questions in the usual way in the comments underneath. Use the hashtag Ask EMBN. In the meantime, Chris, get cracking.
Let's dive straight in. Okay, Ian Welshboy, he's saying, what's your thoughts on tyre, noodles and inserts? I recently put some on my Maxxis Minion 2.8. It's pretty awesome and saves the rims whilst blasting rock gardens. Well, it's something I've not much experience in myself. I hear a lot of talk about them, but I hear you've used them.
There's a lot of positives and some negatives as well. So of course with plus size bikes, as in plus tyre 2.8s and that, it's quite good because a lot of the tyres are quite thin sidewalls, so you are more prone to pinching them and splitting those sidewalls. So they're obviously going to help protect your tyre and protect your rim. I think the thing that they're all good for is they do add an extra level of protection. The thing I don't like about them is they add weight. Of course, on an e-bike, it's not that much of a concern. On a regular bike, you go tubeless to lose that weight, and then you're putting more stuff back in. Now, there are various different types. You get the softer ones out there. There's rim pack. There's various different ones. They're made of foams, which people often call pool noodles. They're not the same as those because they don't absorb like any of the latex solutions. They're all quite good. Panzer's another brand. But the ones like Cushcore are very different because they actually hold your tyre on the rim. So they've got actual benefits to them. However, they're very expensive, they're a bit harder to mount on there. I think they are really sensible. If you're riding in rocky terrain and you're prone to bottoming out your rim quite a lot, I think it's a good investment. But personally, I don't know if I could stretch to a set of Cushcore, but I would go halves with you, for example, and just run one on my rear end. Do it that way, split the cost.
Okay, so Thomas Kronkvitz is asking, he's saying, nice show, cheers. And he's saying, my E8000 charger gets really warm. Actually, I should say hot. Is that normal? Is it something you guys have also noticed?
Well, I think most batteries do get warm, and the chargers, more importantly, get warm as they're putting the charge back into it. I think you were saying, some of your stuff does get pretty warm, but I think it's to be expected. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I think if you're definitely using a Shimano branded and certified charger, you're not going to run into any problems. That thing should trip a fuse or burn a fuse up before.
It should happen before anything bad would happen.
I think it's about where you charge it as well. Try and maximise the airflow around the charger and the battery as well. So if you're charging it in deep pile carpet, then take it maybe into the kitchen onto some tiles. That way should help keep things cooler. Yeah,
and avoid moist rooms as well, even like outside in the garage. Do it inside the house on a hard surface, like Chris said.
But we've done a video all about that. For the best overall health and lifespan of that battery, it's not a good idea to go sticking that battery on charge as soon as you get back from your ride. It's advisable just to let that battery have a rest period. It's letting that battery and the chemistry go from a state of discharge to a state of charge. Just give it around half an hour to get back in the run of things, then stick it back on charge. Okay,
next up's from Chris Velsey. I've got an e-bike that can run 27.5 or 29ers by adjusting a rear link. Okay, so there's a chip so you can adjust the BB. With it being able to run both, could I run a 29 in the front and a 27 in the rear? Without swapping both wheels, it means, I guess, by changing one wheel. Would it mess up the geometry? Would it affect it in a bad way?
Well, that's actually something that comes stock on the Spectralons that we run here on the show, and I actually quite like it. You've got obviously that big grip coming from the big 2.8, 27.5 on the rear, and the 29er on the front. It just gives you a bit more stability and a bit more rollover in that tech stuff. So I think it is a pretty good shout, and obviously it kind of comes from the motocross stuff and trials. They all run mid-sized wheels, and it's obviously worked for them over the years. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It makes perfect sense. With the geometry, provided you're running a fairly sizable rear tyre, it's not going to be too much. You might lose half a degree off the head angle. It's not going to be that much to notice. I think it'd only improve things, certainly on the more aggressive stuff. Worth a try, I'd say. All right, next up's from Wookie Wooly. Loving the show, guys. I've borrowed and hired e-bikes and hoping to buy one later this year. In your bike reviews, you often say, well, we don't do reviews, just for start. We often say we're hoping to ride an XL or a large frame, but for reference, how tall are you and what is your leg length? For example, I'm 6 foot tall and would wear a 30 or a 32 jean leg.
Well, I think me and Steve are pretty similar sort of size-wise. We're both about 6'2", maybe Steve's slightly over that. I might be that if I stand up straight. And normally I have about a 34-inch leg, so yeah, pretty long legs. And I'd say Steve's about the same as well. So bearing all that information in mind should help you make up your mind.
Also, bear in mind, it's not just down to your leg length. It's down to your torso length, how long your arms are. I like a really long bike. I'm 6'3", but I've got quite a short torso. I've got really long arms.
So a real long bike.
I generally like a really longer bike with a wide handlebar and a short stem. So if you can, you need to try 2 bikes back to back, the same bike, and try it on a section of trail that you either know or you've pre-ridden, so you'll be able to tell how they feel.
So you're saying reach is probably more important than the actual
length is more important than height, because you can counter that now with bigger dropper posts and stuff. Okay, next up's from Baby Skull. Kenevo or Levo? I like to ride a mixture of XC and Bike Park. Which one should I choose? I know which I'd choose out of those two.
What are you going to go for?
Levo.
You gave Levo.
I've ridden Jonesy's Kenevo, and whilst it's fantastic and an absolute beast downhill, I did struggle with it on the climbing a bit. I found with the extra travel and the way it rides, you're clouting your pedals quite a lot when climbing.
A bit lower BB, a bit slacker.
The Levo, a little less travel, a bit lighter. I don't think a Levo is going to hold you back anywhere either.
No, I think they're both very capable bikes in their own sort of discipline. But as Doddy says, I think you really need to think about what percentage of your riding you're doing. If you're doing more trail and cross-country based stuff, then I would go towards the Levo. But if you are enjoying more bike park stuff and jumping and downhilly stuff, the Kenevo definitely isn't going to hold you back with that. And there isn't such a sacrifice when it comes to e-bikes with travel and things like that. The Kenevo I've ridden cross-country, and the Levo I've ridden bike park. So it's all about your personal choice and what you're doing more of.
That's a good point, actually. The fact that you have that assistance is a bit more of a leveler.
Exactly.
But I would still be biased to the bike that's more fun for most of your riding.
Definitely.
Rather than that one that's better for that small bike.
And we've done short travel versus long travel.
On traditional bikes, on such a test like this, the 135 will probably rule the climbs, whereas the 180 bike is going to totally dominate the descents. But look, we don't know what's going to happen here, so we're going to do an uphill and downhill challenge to get the pros and cons of both bikes.
Okay, next one's about battery capacity. So this is for you. So it's from Ali Woods. Which e-bike has the biggest battery capacity available? I like to do big adventure rides, and I also want a really decent motor. So what are my best choices?
So obviously the thing with carrying a big battery is there's that bit of added weight as well. So what I like to do on those big rides is actually most, like the standard, like the Shimano E8000 system, just comes with a 500 watt-hour battery. Really easy just to swap over. They're not that heavy, about 2.5 kilos.
Sling it in a bag.
Just sling it in your backpack. Then you've got 1,000 watt-hours of power out to hit the trails. But obviously standalone bikes with big batteries, Levo 700 watt-hour on those higher end models. There's a few other bikes, the Rocky Mountain, things like that with big batteries as well. And I think if you're going to go the hardtail route, actually a really good option would be the high bike hardtails can actually do a piggyback system. So you can slot 2 batteries in on your actual bike, and you could even stick one in your backpack. That'd be 1,500 watt hours of power. But then it comes down to what you want to ride, a full suspension bike or a hardtail. I'm guessing if you're doing big adventure rides, depending on the terrain, you might be on a hardtail. So that is literally going to be unbeatable. If you had 2 batteries on your bike and a 500 watt hour in your backpack, that is going to be some serious mileage.
I've got to say, I like the idea of the single battery in the backpack. I wouldn't want to mess with the ride off my bike.
Exactly,
personally, but it's good. There's loads of options out there. And
when it comes to motor options, I think all the big players, Shimano, Bros, you name it, I think they're all pretty reliable these days. So it comes down to the actual, the size of the battery. It's going to affect the ride. So there you go, that's it for this week's Ask EMBN show. Really hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget, if you've got a question you want us guys to answer, drop us them in the comments box below, #AskEMBN.
Yeah, if you want to see another electric mountain bike related video not on EMBN, check this one with Martin Ashton and Rob Warner over on GMBN. It is nuts.
Super cool, isn't it? Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Click the link in the middle of the screen to subscribe to EMBN, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys.